everybody, it is BJ the Blogger here, and I want to say thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel and my podcast. If you're listening through Anchor or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts, I just want to say I appreciate you guys spending your time with me and getting to know me as I, really build up my content. And so today, what I want to talk about is how you can operate as your higher self even when you are working a job that you hate. And I think everybody can kind of relate to this, just because I don't want to say everybody, because I'm sure there are some people that are working jobs that they absolutely love, that feels completely in alignment with them. But not all of us are as lucky. You know what I mean? I think what tends to happen is we grow up, especially like in America, and I'm going to say like this is my personal experience, but I think what happens is we grow up and our parents put a lot of pressure on us to be a better version, live a better life than what they lived. And what happens is what they associated, especially before we had social media and so much access and visibility to different things that people do for money. Before we had that, what everybody imagined as like great careers that made a lot of money was being a doctor, being an engineer, being a teacher, professor, some of those high salary jobs that, people are making $150,000 a year. And so what happened was a lot of us were told that the answer to our problems was to get an education and go to college. And I think especially for Black people too, we all carried that burden of being the person inside of the family to get a better education, if not be the first person to get an education inside of your family, and really just be your parents' wildest dreams and make them proud and be like, look, mom and dad, I did what you said that you wanted me to do. And a lot of us were pressured to the point that we didn't even really know what we wanted to do. We just knew that we were supposed to go to college. And I don't know about you guys, but when I went to college, my major when I first got to college was not the major that I had when I graduated. And even the major that I had when I first went to college wasn't even the major that I thought I was going to have when I even went to college, period. So, you go through this big cycle of trying to find yourself in college, but a lot of times those colleges don't always have the majors that you want if you want to do something that's a little bit unconventional. You know what I mean? Especially like me as an entrepreneur and other entrepreneurs I know, like we are doing creative things, or we're doing like out of the box things like being photographers. I'm a life coach, or, being a spiritual coach, or having an e-commerce site. And, there's people that run blogs and they make money full time on Instagram and things like that. And could you imagine when you were younger trying to tell your parents that is what you wanted to do full time? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I told my parents that, they would be like, no, you're going to school. Or they would be like, okay, yeah, that's cool and all, but go to school first and then you can do whatever the hell else that you feel like you should be doing. So, I think what ended up happening is we tended, and when I say we, I'm talking about millennials. I'm speaking specifically to the people that have experienced what I'm talking about. We became what our parents wanted us to be, but we did not become what our soul and our spirits really wanted us to become. So then what happens is that you build this life and you create this life and you've built this foundation. You have the degree, you have the years of experience, you have the accolades, you have the network that is based on you being and doing this specific job. But when you really sit down and you're alone in your head and you're thinking and you're like, wow, what is it that I want to do? it may not be in alignment with what you're actually doing for money. And so then you end up having this inner conflict between, you know, what you're inspired to do and what you really love doing and what's paying your bills and what is your 9 to 5 and what is your real job. So I really wanted to kind of give that introduction to just talk about, like, what do you do when you're inside of that situation where you have to pay your bills but you also feel very guided and spiritually you're leaning towards doing something else? How do you make it so that your life is not completely miserable doing that job while you're taking the time to transform yourself into who you feel like your higher self is? So this is the advice that I have for you. What you need to do is figure out what element of whatever your higher self would be doing, what element of that structure, that job, the intention, what element of that can you apply to the current job that you have right now? And the purpose of that is so that you can be operating on the same frequency as if you were operating as your higher self doing that thing. All right, what the hell does that mean, BJ? I'm gonna go into more detail, but I just wanted to give you an overarching of what that really means. So what it means is that you're gonna take whatever it is. Let me give you a specific example, right? So let's say that you love to travel. You love to go hiking, the places that you travel. You like to be super adventurous. You like to try new things, all this great stuff, right? You are just like, I like to be outside. I like to travel. I like to experience new things, whatever. So let's say that that is who you feel like your higher self is. Your higher self gets paid to travel. And right now you currently are a marketing manager. And you feel like, look, I am miserable in this job. Every day I go in here, I'm irritated. I feel like I'm living out of alignment, but I don't know what to do because I don't have enough money saved up yet for me to quit my job. BJ, what should I do? All right, so what I want you to do is find the essence of what it is that your higher self would be doing, which is you being adventurous and you going out and you learning new things and you traveling and doing all this great things. How can you take the essence and the energy that is around that and apply that to the current job that you have right now? So inside of this specific example, we're saying that you're adventurous and you're trying new things and you're, stepping out of your comfort zone and all of these great things. How can you do that inside of your current job? How can you be adventurous inside of your work? How can you be creative? How can you step outside of your comfort zone? How can you learn about new cultures and backgrounds and apply that to the work that you're doing inside of your job? You can take your 9 to 5 and carry it as if it is your higher self calling, even while you're still trying to transform into your higher self. That is the major key. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to operate on the same frequency as if you were operating as your higher self. And what that is going to allow for you to do is going to allow for you to take that frequency, that energy level, all of the energy that you would be putting as if you were your higher self, and taking it and putting it into the present moment so that you can live as your higher self right now, even when the environment is not reflective of that. So it's important for you to understand that the frequency and the emotions that are attached to those actions, that are attached to those intentions, if you can put that into your present day job and the things that you're doing inside of your current job as a marketing manager, right, as this example, when you start doing that, you carry that frequency. And if that frequency is in alignment with your higher self, then that is a high frequency emotion and intention, and it's going to start attracting abundance to you. Abundance of what? It's going to be based on whatever that frequency of that thing is inside of your situation. So if it's like, I love doing this stuff, I love being adventurous, then that is a frequency that you're going to carry when you are applying it into your current work. So what is that going to do? It's going to start attracting more love to you. When you feel like you feel joy when you're doing these things, when you feel happy and you feel relaxed while you're doing, the things that you feel like is in alignment with your higher self, if you're applying those same intentions and that same frequency of emotion to your current job, then you're going to start attracting the abundance of those things back to you. So that is what I mean about operating on that frequency of your higher self. What you receive in abundance of is just based on whatever the frequency of emotion that you're operating on. It requires a lot of intention, right? It requires a lot of control over your emotions. And lastly, it requires a lot of you applying and assigning meaning to what is going on inside of your external world. You can say that you are inside of a situation that is not great and miserable, but what meaning are you going to assign to it that is going to allow for you to still operate on high frequency of emotions? Can you assign the meaning of, I'm transforming into my higher self right now and I'm really excited about it? I have a really great opportunity right now to choose what emotion that I want to apply inside of the situation. How are you going to assign the meaning to your situation so that you can still operate on a high frequency of emotion? That's important, because there's a lot of people that are inside of that their inner world is not the same and is not reflective into their external world. Not yet, at least, right? It first starts up here before it can manifest into your external world. So there's a lot, you hear tons of stories of people that go from rags to riches because in their environment it was 6 of us and we were all living on top of each other and this and that and the third, and they hustled. And they got out of that environment and they're now rich, or they're now living the life that is in full alignment with who their higher self is. And that is because they saw in here what they wanted their life to be. They didn't allow their external environment to impact who they knew that they were. They didn't allow their external to impact their internal. And then what happened is, over time, they started to transform their life on the external based on what they felt on their internal. If you are inside of a situation that is not a great situation and you allow for that to impact you inside of your internal, you're never going to change. You're never going to transform. You're never going to move up out of that situation. You first have to see it inside of your mind in order for you to see it on the external. So that's why I tell you guys that's why I'm telling you guys that if you want to see yourself as your higher self inside of a 9-to-5 that you completely hate, then you have to carry yourself as if you already are your higher self inside of your 9-to-5. It's about bringing yourself to work. Bringing your true self, your inner self, the self with the capital S, bringing that into your job and applying that to the actions that you're taking. And if you're inside of your current 9-to-5 and you're doing all of these high frequency actions and these high frequency things, and you're trying to be your true self while you are still working your 9-to-5 and it's not working, then you got to understand that maybe you're not inside of a situation that you should be in. Because there should be no reason why you can't bring yourself, your true self, your higher self, to your current 9-to-5. There's no reason why you can't do it, unless that 9-to-5 is completely out of alignment and the universe is probably trying to push you out of it anyway. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's some people that are about halfway a foot out of the door at their job, and they're just waiting for somebody to tell them to quit, or waiting for a sign for them to quit. And I would love to be that person to tell you to just quit your job, but I want to make sure that you guys are making responsible decisions and are at least giving it a shot first of carrying yourself as your higher self at your job. You never know, you might get a promotion. People might look at you a little bit differently. And if you're carrying yourself as your higher self, then you're going to be happier. You're going to be, like I said, operating on a higher frequency of emotion. You're going to be excited about going to work. You're going to be You're going to feel joy when you're doing your projects because you feel like, look, I am myself right now. I'm acting as my higher self, and I'm trying this new thing out where I'm applying my higher self to my work. Let me give you guys another example. So what if you feel like, look, I'm a mother. I want to be a full-time nurturer. I want to be full-time stay-at-home mom. I want to have like 4 or 5 kids and just take care of them full-time at home. That is what I really want to do. I want to take care of my family full-time. But you're a nurse right now. Let's say that's the situation. What inside of your higher self, what essence and energy of your higher self can you apply to your current job? You said that you're a nurturer. Then nurture your patients. Carry yourself as if you were at home taking care of your kids, but carry yourself differently when you're dealing with your patients. Would you be, and then I say patience, but when you're dealing with your kids, you would be operating in patience. You would be patient with them. You would be caring. You know, you would be finding ways to have fun with them. You would be trying to teach them things. You would be encouraging them. You would be loving on them. How can you take that essence and that energy and apply it to your current job as working as a nurse? Right? So that is what I'm talking about. Carrying that energy and that essence. And then when you're doing that, you could still visualize yourself as if you were operating as your higher self. You could be working as the marketing manager, but inside of your head, you inside of a jungle somewhere in Africa. But that's because you're still applying the same intentions, the same energy, the same essence to the work that you're doing right now. Okay. All right. So that's the YouTube podcast. That's what I had to talk to you guys about today. Please. Oh, shameless plug. I did finish the first and second modules on my online course. So if you are ready to start the higher self journey, then please check out my website, bjtheblogger.com, and my first, go to the first course. Please do them in order. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3 should be up by the end of this week. But please do them in order. So if you're interested in taking the higher self course, go to Module 1, purchase Module 1. That is ready. If you already know that you want to complete the full higher self course from, A to Z, and you're going to wait for the full course to come out, that should be ready next week. So by next week, you would be able to purchase the entire course. And if you purchase the entire course, of course, that's going to be at a discounted rate versus if you bought each module individually. I think each module is $100. It's like $99 for each module. And each module has 4 lessons in it, and 4 lessons in an introductory lesson. And then if you purchase the full package, it's going to be like $250 or something like that. So if you are interested in doing the full course, that's going to be available to you guys next week. But if you were like, look, I want to go ahead and start working on Module 1 now, then you have access to that on my website right now. Okay. All right, you guys. And of course, please like, comment, subscribe, interact with this video and this podcast. And please make sure to check me out on all social media. Instagram and Twitter is, my handle is BJ the Blogger. And I will check you guys next time. Bye.